Chapter 2. The Cabin in the Trees. The laughter faded into silence. Kaylee gripped her brother's sleeve. "Dalton?" she whispered, but her voice barely made a sound. His flashlight sputtered, the beam flashing weakly across the room. Empty shelves, dusty toys, cracked wallpaper. The pale girl was gone. "Let's get out of here," Dawson said, voice low but urgent. They backed toward the door, every floorboard creaking like a groan. When Dalton turned the knob, it wouldn't budge. It was as if something was holding it shut from the other side. Then came the whisper again from everywhere at once.
"Stay and play forever."
The circle of dolls on the floor shifted slightly. Kaylee gasped as one of them, a tiny wooden ballerina, turned its head toward her. "Dalton, the dolls!" Kaylee exclaimed. He didn't wait to see more. He shoved the door hard and it finally burst open. The siblings ran out into the night, the wind screaming through the trees behind them. They didn't stop running until the cabin was out of sight. Only when they reached the far edge of the woods did Dalton finally slow down. All three were gasping for breath. "What? What was that?" Callie asked between breaths. Dawson looked back toward the trees. Somebody's idea of a joke, maybe? A Halloween setup? But even he didn't sound convinced. Dalton shook his head. That was no joke. Kaylee clutched her flashlight tightly. "She said she wanted me to play." Dalton looked at her, his face pale in the moonlight. "We're never going back there, you understand?" Kaylee nodded, but deep down she wasn't sure she could forget that voice. The next morning, the sunlight did little to chase away the unease. Dalton sat at the kitchen table, staring at the woods beyond the backyard. He hadn't slept at all. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that cabin and those lifeless eyes staring from the shadows. Dawson entered, trying to sound casual. "Did you tell Mom?" Dalton shook his head. "She'd think we were making it up." "Maybe we did imagine it," Dawson said, though his voice was uncertain. "It was dark, windy, we were freaked out." Before Dalton could respond, Kaylee walked in, holding something small in her hand. "What's that?" Dawson asked. She placed it on the table. It was a wooden doll, about 6 inches tall, its painted face cracked, its arms stiff. "I found it in my backpack," Kaylee whispered. Dalton's blood ran cold. "You didn't take that from the cabin, did you?" She shook her head. "No, it was just there this morning." As they stared at it, the doll's head slowly tilted to the side, as if listening. Then, faintly, it began to hum. The same soft tune that had played in the cabin. Dalton pushed back his chair so hard it toppled. "Get it out of the house." But when he reached for it, the humming stopped, and the doll's eyes seemed to shift, now looking straight at him. For the rest of the day, Kaylee swore she could hear whispers coming from her backpack. And that night, when the wind picked up, she thought she saw something move in the woods, a flicker of light, like a lantern glowing where the cabin had been. Dalton tried to sleep but couldn't. Around midnight, he finally gave up and went outside. The air was cold, his breath white in the moonlight. At the edge of the yard, he stopped. There, in the dirt, were footprints, small ones and child-sized. They led straight into the trees. Dalton followed them until they disappeared in the dark. And when he turned back toward the house, he froze. Standing at the tree line was a little girl. Her pale face glowed faintly in the dark. She smiled, the same eerie, perfect smile as the doll. Then she whispered,
"See you soon,"
and vanished